at the end of the year, it's like, dude, where's my money at? And if we're not going to make money inside a business and we got to sacrifice all this time, what are we really doing?
Welcome to Brand Talk with Rachel and Drew. I'm Drew.
I'm Rachel.
Welcome to the show. Looking forward to having our very first guest, Mr. Andrew Cordle.
Yeah, it's like Drew 2.0, bro.
Drew 2.0. So I'm excited to chat, man. We've been talking so much on the road. It's been a crazy day, crazy weather.
Yeah.
But we made it to the studio. We're here. Excited to have you, man.
Thank you to be here, man.
This is really
excited to be here as your first guest, bro.
Yeah.
First guest ever.
Ever. We've never had another guest. Hendrix made an appearance, but he didn't say much, you know.
Yeah.
So, you're full of information, great teacher of ours, and
Sure.
I'm excited to talk about just money stuff with you, money movement, growth, business, wherever this thing goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? You excited? You excited as I am?
Super excited. I honestly can't think of a better person for our audience to learn from than Andrew. He's been a great wealth of knowledge for us to be able to teach us things that we can then be able to kind of translate into the beauty industry and help change our clients' lives. So super excited to have him on the podcast today. Very
cool. Very cool. So let's dive in, man. What's on your mind? What's on your heart? I guess we had such a good conversation on the way here. Probably should have mic'd up that cabin.
Shot it in the inside and be done with it.
I guess the guys did though. They did.
Yeah, we got some footage.
You know, I think it's I think we're probably somewhat similar. Is that being into entrepreneurship for like 20 plus years now. At the end of the day, from this point on, right? I've dedicated I think my whole purpose of life is to help small business entrepreneurs get to that next level, because there's so much stuff that we don't understand. No one ever told us. We didn't come for money. We played the business game really kind of weird to a certain degree, you know? Mm-hmm. And we find ourselves stuck in certain scenarios that we can't figure out, like, man, I am working more than I've ever worked. I'm working harder than I've ever worked. I'm putting in more time. I'm doing all this for my family, except for I never see my family. And I'm not making any money. When I say not making any money, I don't mean that we don't have cool shit. Oh, am I allowed to?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Shit. But whatever.
I did. It's like we able to take our money and we buy this cool stuff, but at the end of the year, it's like, dude, where's my money at? Like, man, where? And if we're not going to make money inside a business and we got to sacrifice all this time, then what are we really doing? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day. So that's what hit me years and years ago inside of entrepreneurship, man. I made a bunch of money, and no matter how hard I pushed to go to the next level of money, I could get to the next level. And then at the end of the year, I still don't have any money. So that's what I try to help entrepreneurs now, is to understand the game of money inside of business, right? Because at the end of the day, I always tell people, we go in business. The reason we go into business is to make money, not in a negative way, not in a greedy way, not in a selfish way, but we do go into business to make money, and we're trying to change our lives and help others, in the process. It's not bad to make money. You just got to figure out how to actually, as an entrepreneur, it's actually less how to make it and how to keep it. That's what I say.
All right, guys, real quick. If you're a salon owner who's tired of grinding behind the chair with nothing to show for it but a sore back and an inconsistent bank account, you need to BYOB, build your own brand. This is our signature program helping salon owners all across the country launch their own private label hair extension line under your name with your profit margins and your rules.
It's not just about services. It's about creating an actual brand that can sell while you sleep. Our students are launching their own Shopify stores, wholesaling to local stylists, and finally stepping into the CEO seat without having to reinvent the wheel.
We're literally handing you the playbook: branding, fulfillment, marketing, legal, all of it. If you've got the hustle, we've got the system.
Click the link in the description below to book a discovery call with our team. Let's build a business that works for you and not the other way around.
BYOB, because doing hair should be because you want to, not because you have to.
And move it and use it and not lose it all.
I would say everybody in our industry that we talk to, they're really good at making money. They're extremely good at it. They can make 20, 25, 30 grand a month.
Which is wild.
Yes.
It's wild.
Like they make more than attorneys, more than doctors. Mm-hmm. And yet they, at the end of the day, don't have the cash flow, can't get approved for loans, and they're playing the write-off game.
Yeah. And dude, this is probably the thing you see the most helping entrepreneurs, right? Is especially like if you go to your industry with salon owners and so forth, and but it really applies to all entrepreneurs. Is that you have this person that makes $25,000 a month. Their parents probably made like $3,000 a month.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But here's what's wild. When their parents made $3,000 a month, they didn't have a lot of money, and that person who now owns a salon grew up in kind of a more financially tight, poor family. Said, man, I don't want my kids to go through this. I don't want my kids to, not have the basketball shoes or not be able to go to the cool places. And so as young people, myself included, we're like, man, I'm gonna when I get older, I'm gonna change. Now this person's making $25,000 a month. What their parents might have made like per every 6 months or every quarter, and yet at the end of the year, they're still in the same bucket that their parents were when they made $3,000 a month. That doesn't mathematically make any sense. You know what I mean? How could you do that and still be the same bucket? And it's only from the standpoint of entrepreneurs are great at creating money. We are horrible at understanding how to keep it and then how to multiply it. And keep it, I don't mean budget. I don't mean budget. When I say keep it, I don't mean learning how to live below your means and I would say not in a negative way, but I'm not here to talk about like the Dave Ramsey approach to money. The reason that the reason we ended with no money is because we play this little game called the deduction game, and when we find out about it, it's like you start this business, and because you don't come from money and you don't have any money, and then you find out, oh my God, I could write this stuff off. Are you freaking kidding me? This is insane. And that first year of business you hit, and you don't pay taxes, and it's like, oh my God, I figured it out. This is how the wealthy are doing it, man. I figured it out. Like, this is a secret code, and every entrepreneur that goes through this, like I'm telling you. All I do is, this, all I do is speak with entrepreneurs. And at the end of the day, when they first find that first year, they don't pay taxes, like, oh, this is what I got to do. What happens from there is the circle, if you want to call it that, starts. And every year they're like, man, I want to make $100,000 this year. And they get to $100,000. And when they get to $100,000, they still don't have any money. Because they deducted all of it, right? And then they're like, oh man, okay, when I get to $200,000, it's gonna be different. When I get $250,000, it's gonna be different financially. They get to $250,000, but at the end of the year, they're still at zero. And it's 500, it's $1 million. It doesn't matter, man. Last week I was in my office doing work with what we call private clients, and these are people that pay anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 for one freaking day. And I sit down with them and I architect out their entire business for them. From a tax perspective, from a business money flow perspective. This guy was in my office. He does $126 million a year in his business. And I said, hey, man, this is great. Like, I said, tell me, we were going through all this stuff, And I said, how much money have you, put away in retirement now? You know what his answer was? I'm not surprised. Zero.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, now you're listening right now on the podcast, you're thinking, there's no way. And you're going to say to yourself, man, if I made $126 million a year in my business, oh, dude, it would be totally different. The truth is it's not. It won't be. Because until you change how you're playing the game of money, it always ends up at the same spot. That's why when you first started and you got to $100,000, you didn't have money. And at $500,000, you didn't have money. And $1 million, it's just the same thing. It just keeps growing until you have... did he have cool shit? Oh, bro. He had all kinds of cool. And did he have cooler shit than the guy that was making $5 million a year? Yes. I mean, he had cool vacation homes and trucks and bigger toys, basically. And what's funny is somehow he was writing that shit off. And the only reason he was writing it off is because he hasn't got caught yet.
Right.
And as entrepreneurs, you're writing stuff off right now that is not true. It's just no one's ever said anything to you. And you guys should probably remember this. Like, there was a time in your business where when you were playing this game and as a salon owner and so forth, and you're writing stuff off and you're like, man, is this right? Like, is this actually a deduction? But no one ever said anything to you. You filed your taxes, you used a CPA, and you gave them your bank statements and your credit card statements and your receipts, and they filed it, and they let it count. Like, the CPA didn't call you back and be like, hey, bro, hey, whoa, you can't do all this write-off stuff. So your brain is like, well, oh, okay, it must have been okay. It must have been good. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all inside of it. It just means you're just giving data to a CPA and they're plugging in on a tax form and submitting it for you. They're not held accountable for what you're doing. They're just filling out forms for you that you gave them the data for. So, inside this vicious world of super successful entrepreneurs, until they change how they play the rules of money, they'll forever be stuck in a vicious cycle of always wanting it but never having it. You know what I mean?
What have you found has been the thing that these entrepreneurs have been able to kind of learn more about, unfold, unpack to get past that sticky point?
To get unstuck.
Yeah, that's a deep question. But what I tell you is it really comes down to two things. It comes down to your financial IQ, and then it's going to come down to your financial EQ. Those are two things. And if you really, really want to get into it, it's actually EQ more than IQ. But most humans, especially entrepreneurs, drivers, type A's, when we're trying to build it, we don't really care about EQ. Myself included when I was going through it, right? We don't really care about EQ. And no one's ever maybe said financial EQ, but it would be like understanding the purpose of what's going on, if you will, and in the emotional side. But the truth is it's a low financial IQ with a low financial EQ, which produces look, let's take it off of money for a second. Let's say that you guys are married in a relationship. Okay, take money away for a second. If you want to have a successful marriage relationship, okay, you're going to have to increase your relationship IQ. Mm-hmm. You have to. You're going to have to increase your relationship EQ side of your life. And for two people to cohabitate and have kids and grow together, grow old for 50 years, they're going to have to understand how a relationship works and when to push back and when to walk away and when to say something, when not to say something, and when to from both sides to submit to the other side and say, okay, I'm wrong on this. Like you have to have a successful relationship. You have to have very good IQ and EQ. If you want to be a great spiritual person, religious person, you're going to have high spiritual IQ and spiritual EQ. Spiritual IQ is like, how could you try to be a great, let's say, spiritual person, and then if someone brings up and talks about you with you, wants to talk to the Bible with you, and you have no idea what it says or what it means or have you read it before? But you're like, no, I'm a great Christian. Well, it's like, well, those two things can't go together. How could you say I'm a great Christian and you have zero understanding of any scripture from anywhere out there? So inside of that, if you understand that, now just apply it to financial IQ. And where we get confused at is this. We think business IQ means financial IQ.
Right.
Business IQ does not mean financial IQ. Those are two separate things. But because money was like a taboo topic for us when we grew up, even as we get older, we don't ever address it. We don't ever talk about it. You don't ever go out with your friends and hang out and talk about money and so forth, right? It's just a thing that doesn't happen. But what you will do is you'll go out and talk to your friends about business.
Yeah, and how much you're making and all that. Yeah.
How's your marketing going? How's your sales going? Like, you'll talk about business all day long. You'll go to business conferences nonstop. What you won't do is go to money classes, financial classes. And what we try to do is we try to delegate it because we don't want to talk about it. And you can't delegate wealth. There's no way. No one, let me say it this way, in a first generation process, you can't delegate wealth. There's no concept of first generation delegating wealth and becoming wealthy inside of it. You know what I mean? So what's the real problem? Low financial IQ, low financial EQ. It doesn't mean I'm not saying that they're dumb or anything like that. They might have skyrocketed business IQ, right? Talk about your salon owners. You might have, what you just said is actually kind of mind blowing to me. You might have a salon owner that is doing $30,000 a month. All right. So what does that mean? For them personally at their chair, they would have a high, say, business IQ, or they might have a high stylist IQ. Like, they could take someone's hair and do magical shit with it that when that person gets up and leaves, you're like, whoa, that person looks like a new human because you've added the extensions, you've changed their cut, you've changed their style, the color to it. Okay, that person has a super high, let's say, style IQ. But just because you have a high style IQ and you can produce $30,000 a month, insane, from a chair, does not equate to high financial IQ. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think something that's extremely important too is like a lot of times, like you mentioned, like first generation, you know, they're the ones that like, you know, you can't delegate like the ability to build wealth.
Yeah.
yes, they can earn income, they can produce income, they can show other stylists how to create income, but they have absolutely no idea how to multiply, or even create wealth. And a lot of times we hear this inside of our own beauty industry community is they'll say, like, anytime you get into the numbers questions, you start asking questions, they immediately detour to, oh, I need to talk to my financial advisor. I need to talk to this person. And I'm like, or the CPA. And I'm like, if the CPA knew how to get your business profitable or strategize, like, they would have done it by now. It's your responsibility as the owner to figure it out, and I think that's something that, you can't delegate that responsibility out to somebody else.
It goes back to that. Because money's a taboo topic, they ignore it,
right?
Give it to someone else and say, internally they're going to say, if I just keep pushing, if I just keep I just got to just push more. I got to get more people in here. If I just keep driving, I'm going to get to there. And it never happens. It's impossible to happen. If you want money, you have to understand money. If you want a healthy relationship, you have to have a healthy. You have to understand how relationships work. If you want to be a great Christian, you'd have to understand how Christianity works. If you want to be a great soccer player, you have to understand how soccer works. It doesn't matter what it is, right? You'll be a great nurse. You'd have to understand how big a great nurse works. You want to have money? Well, you got to understand it.
All right, guys, I got to tell you about an incredible event that you don't want to miss. It's happening in Palm Springs, September 13th through the 15th. This is something that is going to be the event of the year for CEOs who are wanting to build their wealth. So if that's you, I'm going to put a link in the description below for you to get your ticket. Don't miss it. Now back to the episode.
It is a whole other universe outside of doing services to elicit clients. The money game, as I've heard you say many times, is
just a game.
It is so a game with its own set of rules and its own deal.
It has its own set of rules. It has its own rule book. It has its own operations to it. It has its own winners and losers. It has its own processes and systems to it. And here's the big one I'll give you just to understand it. Like, how you structure your business, okay, will dictate the rules of money for you. So this is where business owners go wrong. Watch. As a business owner, when we get started, because again, we don't know, right? And so we get started, we normally start like as a sole proprietor, and we're just out there hustling and doing stuff. And then over time, we hear about this LLC, and we're like, oh man, I need to get an LLC. And we kind of grow to an LLC, and we go to LegalZoom and set it up. And then over time, as you keep growing, your CPA or somebody tells you, hey, you need to get taxed as an S Corp, right? And so we get taxed as an S Corp now. And so right there is where 95, 98% of all entrepreneurs, small business owners, stop at. What happens is the structure of your business will dictate the rules of the game of money, okay? So however you structure your business, that's like you saying, here's how I'm going to play the game of money based off of how I structure it. You then take in an S Corp, right? Tax as an S Corp. You're basically taking your personal life expenses, money, your business money, your retirement, and in theory, your legacy. So there's 4 quadrants of money that you have to master to have money. You got to master all 4 of them. They're individually, but they flow together. So it's personal, business, retirement, and estate. What happens in business entrepreneurs is we hit this LLC, tax as an S Corp, and that's our structure. So what that structure produces is it's basically going to take all 4 of those and put all 4 into one bucket. It's one box. So because the S Corp is going to be a flow through to you. So when you structure your business that way, it produces a set of rules for money. And the purpose of an S Corp at the end of the day is to flow through to you, and your job is to try to get it to go as low profitable as possible, so you can take all these deductions on your personal side. That's what people are doing with it. It's actually kind of the purpose of it, right? But when you do that as a business owner, and you never separate your personal from your business, or your business from your retirement, or retirement from your legacy, when you only play by this one bucket where everything's mixed into, when your business goes to zero, that means personally you're going to go to zero.
Right.
That means your retirement's going to go to zero. And the estate or your legacy is just like a myth. It's just like,
never happens.
One day when my business or my salon is so big, I think my daughter or my son are going to want to take this over, and I'm going to pass it down to them. That's just not happening. They don't want your business, bro. What your dream is their nightmare. So let that sink in for a little bit.
Because they've grown up with that. Like, I mean, our kids, I mean, I think if you ask them that question today, it might be a little bit of a different, response than before. But if you ask
Yes.
Kenzie, like, hey, do you want to own this salon one day? Like, hell no, I don't want to own this salon one day.
I asked her.
She's like,
nah.
absolutely not. Like that, they associate that with, okay, mom or dad is working 24/7 all the time, and yet there's nothing to show for it.
Yes.
That's what they associate that with, and they're smart enough to see that and like, I don't want that.
I don't want that. So this is why what happens in entrepreneurs, like you said, and we all do this. Like, I'm not upset. I mean, I did this, and I went through a divorce because of this, because everything was about me trying to push and push and push. While I was doing that, and here's what's wild: when we say we do that, we're doing that because we're trying to build something for our family.
Yeah.
We're not saying we're doing it for us. We're not saying that like I'm trying to be selfish to have those. No. We're saying I'm building this and I'm going to sacrifice because I'm going to try to take care of my family and get my family to this next level. But because we then on purposely go to zero every year with our business, and because of how it's structured, that dictates the rules of money. Therefore, it also flows to our personal because that's how you set it up. Well, then your kids are like, wait, like what you said, it's like, wait a second. Like from their perspective, they're looking at this thing and saying, wait, mom and dad are spending all this time on this business that I don't get to spend time with them. And yet we don't really have any money. We just have some cool shit. Why would I want that? Like the amount of times that I deal with private clients that have a multi-million-dollar, like $10 million to say $50 million company, they've built it their whole lives. They come in to try to structure stuff, and one of the things they wanted to do is help me with the estate planning side. And we go through their kids, and like, I built this for them, but I can't get them to take it. They just don't seem to want it, and that's why. Because now that they're older and they're 34 years old, they look at that business and say, "You chose that over me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that to my kids. So why would I want that thing? That thing represents separation from my loved ones. I don't want that thing." And that's what. But the whole time we're doing it, remember, when we build this, we're saying we're doing this for our family, but it never actually turns out. You have to on purposely play the game of money the right way, which all comes down to how you structure it will dictate the rules.
A lot of times too is I think like the intention's pure when they go into it. Like they
100%.
absolutely 100,000% like they are doing that for their loved one, for their family.
100%.
And then Drew used to own the gym. Me owning this, when I first opened the salon, like I missed tons of time with the kids. I mean, the kids used to sleep on the shampoo bowls at night, and I used to think like, oh, like they're sleeping, I'm doing inventory, I'm doing this. Like someday, one day, it's all going to
someday, one day,
it's gonna,
Tomorrow.
it'll happen.
Yep.
Right. And a lot of times, business owners they'll do that, and they finally get to a point. Hopefully, it's sooner rather than later, where they realize, okay, enough is enough. I clearly this isn't working. I need to seek mentorship, or I need to seek help from somebody to be able to like this isn't happening, and they really are working as hard as possible.
And like you said, no one goes into business as an entrepreneur when you open the gym, a while back or whatever. No one goes into the business saying, I'm going to forsake my family. I'm going to turn I'm going to not spend time with them. Mm-hmm. We go in with pure intentions of good and great, and we're willing to sacrifice. And here's a piece I'll kind of leave you with. We go in this concept again. I need to sacrifice to get to this next place. I got to pull this time in. I got to go do this thing because I'm gonna sacrifice so my kids can. The word sacrifice attached to money is the EQ side, and when you have a low financial EQ, you will use I'll give you an example of what a low EQ would mean. And entrepreneurs go through this. For most entrepreneurs, if I ask them, money is blank, and I said, money is blank. Like, what does money mean? Okay. My team with algorithms and AI have matched up all the different words to whatever word you put there. It basically comes out as 6 words. Inside of that, when you say money is blank, a word that you would never put there is money is evil. Like most people would never say that. They're going to say freedom or love or opportunity or energy or money is a tool. Mm-hmm. In the reality of it, what happens is when you talk about the EQ side, what would really come out is money is evil. And I'll show you what money is evil means. Most of us grew up with the understanding of money, and money was this bad thing, either from 2 perspectives or one. One perspective is you grew up in a Christian home, and at church and stuff, they would use the different verses of money, and they had this like unique spin about money being bad, or if you had money. So one side would be from that side. Second side perspective would be from like, if you didn't even go to church, but your parents who didn't have money, they might look at a wealthy person, and you might have heard them say, even if they were talking to you, they was in the car, but you might have heard them say negative comments about a wealthy person. That's like, man, they really had they point to some person that in the car, or they're driving, they're like, man, that person really had to take advantage of people to get where they got, or that person really had to, step on someone's throat to get that type of money. I would never do that, because we have this internal from a kid that money is bad. We never address that shit. And what happens in your life and your business right now, you're just living that shit out right now. And I'll show you too. If something is evil, right? And this is understanding the conscious level and subconscious level of life. If something is evil, okay, do you want that in your life?
No.
No.
No. Like, so if you know something is bad, it's not good to have. It's evil in your life. Whatever it is, take money out of the equation. Whatever that thing is, if something is bad or evil, you don't want that in your life, okay? Because we have a subconscious and a lower financial EQ side, our subconscious from our childhood has programmed us to believe that money is evil. We're just living it out right now. The way we live that out is, watch, every year you decide to, in your business, I'm going to get to, whatever that number is, 500 grand. And then every year you seem to find a way, no matter how high you go, you find a way to get back down to
0.
Okay. That's because what's actually running your financial world right now is a financially low EQ. Your subconscious believes that money is evil from your childhood. And because it's evil, every year you do everything you can to actually get rid of it. Because you internally believe it's evil. And if it's evil, you can't have it. So every year you get rid of it. If you don't believe me, send your tax returns to my tax attorneys. I'll pull that shit up for you and show you after the last 7 years of your life, money was evil. And you got rid of it. No matter how much you made, you got rid of it. And to justify it, as entrepreneurs, we then change the rule book to say, how I win is if I don't pay anything in taxes. If I don't pay anything in taxes at the end of the year, oh my God, I won, I did it again. All you did was change what was a win, but it wasn't a win. It just makes you feel better right now. I'll show you another way that money is evil. You don't pay yourself.
We hear that one a lot. I mean, how many calls you get on? Tons of calls in.
Thousands.
Yeah.
They said the car like 4,500 calls done with salon owners and stuff. It's evil because if money is evil, why would you want to pay yourself?
They gotta get it. They gotta get rid of it.
You can't. You can't pay yourself.
Hot potato.
You'll pay anybody else.
Yeah.
You don't mind paying other people because you want to help other people. But because your internal operating system, your subconscious, from a childhood has told you that money was evil and now it's inside of you, you can't pay yourself. You think a W-2 is the worst thing alive.
Well, a lot of times what they'll do too is they'll find reasons to continue to reinvest that money. Oh, well, I'm not going to pay myself because I'm going to invest in new chairs. I'm going to invest in this retail brand, or I'm going to repaint the break room, or whatever.
Like, how many years are you going to do that? Like, I worked with entrepreneurs for 12 years, and then 12 years later, they're saying, man, Drew, right now I'm in a growth year, and right now I'm just really reinvesting everything. I'm like, for 12 fucking years you've been reinvesting everything? You have never paid yourself yet?
Yeah.
What's happening is it's the EQ side, right? So the EQ and the IQ side are two different things. IQ is about tactical approach of money. EQ side is the emotional approach of money that we have to figure out in life. And if we don't figure it out, it's the same thing in anything else in life, in a relationship, right? It's how it works. So
I think the main thing that stands in the way, at least for us too, was just the education, getting clear on the education. Because we always had this desire of like, okay, this we want to have a big life. We want to be wealthy. We want to help people, and for us, it was just kind of a lack of education. Once those pieces started to come into play, I mean, it changed a lot of things for us.
It's the IQ side, yeah.
Yeah,
education, IQ is like the same thing, yeah.
For sure. And and everyone's trying to do what you just said, with the EQ, and they're giving the money away, that game, and they win that game that they're playing all the time. Like, they're good at that,
What's
they're real
crazy,
good at it.
they're really, here's what's wild. From the EQ standpoint, you're actually, if you want to get down to really brass tacks shit about money here, you're actually more comfortable not having money than you are of having money. That's why you get rid of it. Because you don't know, your relationship with money is so off, you can't have it. So instead, you get rid of it. And when you get rid of it, you then say, I won. Listen, it's very simple. Anytime you understand this in your business, get by yourself and ask yourself a truthful question. Why did you go into business? Now, do you want to help people? Sure. But is that why you went into business? No. Do you want to help people change their hair? 100%. Is that why you went into business? No. Do you want to, whatever it is that you're doing? Yes. That's not why you went into business. You went into business for the ability to make money to help other people. The way I can prove it to you is go look on your LLC filing. And when you open that LLC up, there was a box that said for profit or nonprofit. And you chose for profit.
Yeah.
And that was the last time you ever talked about it again. From then on forward, business is about everything, nothing except for profit. Like you on purposely get rid of your profit. You know what I mean? So, man, I could talk about money for entrepreneurship. Like if I could help entrepreneurs understand how money really actually works. And then our only other option is to go to Dave Ramsey. Mm-hmm. And that's like, okay, take your money and bury it. And be you're actually living, like if I gave you that answer, it would be money is scared.
Yeah.
Money is scared.
That makes a lot of sense.
So when you play the game like Ramsey's playing, if you understand, followed Dave Ramsey's financial traumas. He lost everything. Someone took it away from him.
Yeah.
He was investing money. When that happened, it created that's like a financial trauma. Trauma is just saying it's a perceived loss of control. He had a perceived loss of control of his life, and he had to go file bankruptcy because someone took it away from him. From that day forward, he created rules to a game from a financially trauma base, which would be I'm scared. Money is scared. And all he's done now in a way is took his financial trauma and passed it down to everybody. And anybody that's playing that is coming from a scared perspective. Money is not scary.
It's everywhere.
It's scary because you don't understand it. That's why you're afraid of it.
It's I think about this a lot. Like it's everywhere. It's in everything. Like the roads that we drove on, the cars that we were in, the clothes we're wearing, the things we're standing on. It's absolutely everywhere, and people can't get it. I'm like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. And then fun little thing happened to me this last couple of years. Like I had this guy, he would I'd see him at the gym and he would mentor me, and he was successful, and he's a real nice guy. And we went to dinner and they're great, still friends. But he would help me. He would give me advice when this was in the very beginning when we were figuring this stuff out. I was doing like some fitness stuff. It was working, but I wasn't making any money, And we had some time to go to dinner, and he'd give me some good stuff and advice. But time went on, and his advice was the Dave Ramsey, like he's buying, impressive, but he buys all his cars full cash all the time, constantly. Like he's very, very liquid and bought it, and all good, does really well. But it wasn't like what we were looking to do. I was like, I'm never going to get to where I'm trying to go if I follow that path. And we started growing and doing bigger things. And the conversations I were having with him changed. Because I'm like, we're doing this per day, per week now. So we're doing this over here, and we're moving this over here and doing that. And then like that, he couldn't, I don't know, that relationship didn't like die or anything like that. But it just, we didn't have much to discuss at that point.
Money changed?
Yes.
Because of being scared.
So like the relationship kind of changed a little bit, and it was kind of strange.
Yeah.
So.
Totally. I think for people to be able to kind of figure out like what's next for them, like what would you say? Like for them to be able to obviously increase their financial IQ and their EQ, like what would be like the place to pursue those two things?
Number one, just understand it's 100% on you, your responsibility. It's no one else's responsibility. If you don't do it for you, there is no one to do it.
Yeah.
Like you are the only one that can do that. You have to go do that. If you want to follow me, you click on the link in the podcast here, and we'll put a link in there for you, and you can follow and learn more about financial IQ and financial EQ. And just understand, I have no desire to be your coach, your guru, your mentor from a financial standpoint. That's not none of those things are bad. It's just that's not my role. Like I'm here to tell you how it works, and I want you to own that shit. Because to have money, you have to know it. You can't delegate it. So don't delegate that shit to me. I'm just going to tell you how it works, and then you own it. That makes sense?
Absolutely. Cool. I think we can end there. Thank you so much for being on the podcast and driving through the rain to get here.
Performed for you.
Yeah, it was great.
First guest ever.
First guest ever. And last guest ever.
I ended it for you.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much for having me, man.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening and for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Later.